Um, Hello, and welcome to another episode of Avoid the Tyre podcast. Today, we will be talking about women in motorsport. So, there are a lot of questions surrounding females in motorsport. Why is there very little representation? What can be done to increase the amount of representation? And why is there so much opposition to female Formula One fans? Is it because of gatekeepers? But first, we have each chosen a woman who either works in motorsport or is a female racing driver. Megan, do you want to tell us about the woman you chose?
So I chose Abby Pulling, who is a 18-year-old driver in the British Formula 4 Championship. She is driving with JHR Development and it is her second year with that team. And Abby works with Alice Powell, who is a W Series driver and who has helped Abby with her development. So Abby was given an opportunity to race at Imola with the Formula Renault Euro Cup. This was where she took a big step as a driver, as she was racing on a new track with a new team in a new car that she didn't have time to get up to grips with. So she was just chucked in the deep end, and she managed to cope with that really well, in which for something that could be so daunting and then turning it into such a positive can show younger drivers, younger female drivers even, how interesting motorsport can be. Abby has also recently been announced as a W Series reserve driver, and following this, I think I will talk about a few of her achievements. So in 2016, Abby came second in the karting championship. And then in both 2017 and in 2018, she was then the champion of the British karting championship. Most recently, Abby raced at Snetterton. She posted about this earlier this week, saying that it was a weird race and that she struggled a little bit, but she learned a lot from the race. So in qualifying, she qualified P8, in which put her behind her three teammates, Reese, Loke and Creswell. And in race one, she started from row 4, and she was looking at the back of her teammate's car on the starting grid, which personally I'd want to be in front of them. But in the race, she'd done well and she made up 2 positions to finish in front of her teammate. And race 2, which was the Saturday afternoon, it went into a reverse grid. And she was starting P9 ahead of her 3 teammates this time. She managed to make up some good positions and she finished in P9 ahead of her teammates Reese and Creswell, and also Loke, who did not finish the race. So compared to their results in that race, she done much better. She finished the race, unlike one of them, and she's showing how well she can handle the car as a female against a field of boys. And then on the Sunday in race 3, she started from P6 ahead of her teammate Loke, who was back in 15th. She made up 1 position throughout the race and she finished in P5 behind, again, 2 of her teammates who were on the podium. After the weekend, she finished 10th in the championship standings, again behind her 3 teammates, but that doesn't represent her performance against her teammates, as she's showing so much potential in that car. She's been recently preparing for the next round at Brands Hatch with multiple simulator days and training with Alice Powell, that W Series driver, in which is helping with her development, helping push her, help her keeping where she needs to be in terms of going into that race. And I, for one, can't wait to see Abby back out on track, and I think we all wish her the best of luck for when she's called up to drive for the W Series as a reserve driver, and we see her as a W Series driver in the future.
The woman I chose was Susie Wolff. I chose her because she's an inspiration to me and because she has paved the way for women in the world of motorsport. Her achievements include the winner of the 24-hour Middle East Kart Championship in 1997, the Scottish Intercontinental A and Scottish Open Junior kart competitions, and she in 1996 was named the British Woman Kart Racing Driver of the Year, which she again won in 1997. In the year 2000, she was named as the top female kart driver in the world before moving in 2001 to Formula Renault. She was in Formula Renault for 4 years before moving to Formula 3 in 2005. She then moved in 2006 to DTM, where she remained for 6 years until 2012. In 2012, she signed for Williams as a development driver and announced she would drive in 2 free practice sessions at the British and German Grand Prix. Unfortunately, the British Grand Prix track time was cut short due to an engine problem, and at the start of the German Grand Prix, they had issues, but thankfully they were put right. She placed 15th out of 22 cars, just 1/10 behind her teammate Felipe Massa. So, in 2016, she joined Mercedes as one of their ambassadors, and then in 2018, she joined Venturi Racing as the team principal. She co-founded Dare to be Different, and that is the aim of that is to increase women in motorsport.
I chose Natalie Pinkman. She's 43 years old. She's a British television presenter and F1 pit lane reporter for Sky Sports. In her early career, she was an assistant producer on the International King of Sports on BBC Two, and then she hosted the Isle of Man TT races for Men of Sports, and then she moved to being presenter for many football-related World Cups. She then joined at F1 in 2012 by being a pit lane reporter throughout the practice sessions, qualifying sessions, and also doing the race interviews. And then in 2021, she became the first woman to commentate on an F1 session on British television on Sky Sports with the first practice in the Bahrain Grand Prix. I feel like she is one of the reporters that you instantly think of as being a British F1 Formula 1 presenter, because she's always there, she's always doing the interviews. And I also feel like she's one of the best because she has a great relationship with the drivers and the team members, and her interviews are always informative and are great to watch. She also has a podcast called In the Pink, where she talks to numerous motorsport drivers such as Jenson Button, Max Chilton and Damien Hill. So within the podcast, they talk about themselves more in depth, such as their childhoods, their careers, regrets and aspirations. An advantage of this is that you get to see a different side to the drivers and learn much more about them, as you wouldn't do that in a normal interview. And I think that is a smart idea from Natalie, because most reporters would not have thought that, and it gets a larger audience to follow her and listen to her podcast. She also represents more women to go into motorsport as well, so I think that's great of her.
So I chose Sofia Floosh. I think that's how to say her name, but I'm not sure. She's a German racing driver currently competing in DTM. AB Sports Line, and FIA World Endurance Championship with the Richard Mille Racing Team. He's previously raced in FIA Formula 3, Formula Regional European Championship, Formula 4 in both Germany and Italy, as well as the Jeanette Junior Championship. Throughout her career, she became the first female driver and also youngest driver of 3 series she competed in: the 2008 SAKC Championship, 2009 ADAC German Championship, and the 2010 European Championship Easy Kart. She was also scouted by Red Bull. In 2015, Floosh took part in the 2015 Jeanette Junior Championship season, driving for HHC Motorsport. She collected 2 wins and 2 podiums, and made double Jeanette history at Buxton by becoming the youngest driver to win a Jeanette Junior race, and also the first rookie to win 2 out of 2 races in one weekend. I chose Sofia mainly because throughout her career, she's come up against a lot throughout her career, but she hasn't been afraid to speak out about it when she doesn't agree with something, especially when it comes to women in motorsport and that side of things. So, yeah.